We got dragons, 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 and more dragons. What is up, indie lovers? Welcome to another episode of Indie Choice Picks. And today, I have the awesome Cody Martinez on my channel today talking about his upcoming indie comic, Wisdom Comes. Wow, I had a brain fart right there. Sorry. And if you didn't believe me before, didn't hear me, his story has a lot of dragons in it. Dragons, 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 and a lot of cool parallel Earth kind of type deal that I couldn't really pry from his brain. But guys, if you are interested in dragons, which everyone should love dragons because everyone who doesn't like dragons is weird, you're going to like this interview with Cody Martinez. So sit back and relax, enjoy the show. I hope you guys enjoy Cody Martinez's Wisdom Comes. Enjoy. Hey, Cody. Thanks for coming on the show. I love your brand, Badass Comics, dude. Have you got any shit for that yet or no?
No, not yet. I thought I would, but I guess it's just under the radar. So
Yeah, well, I would just keep on running with that because it's badass in itself.
yeah, I like it. Yeah, I just started using the hashtag for books that I liked, and I was like, that's a pretty good moniker. So why not?
There you go. Fantastic. So I'm going to turn the mic over to you. Tell us about your comic book, Wisdom Comes, and let us know a little bit about yourself and how you came up with the idea.
Okay, sounds good. So Wisdom Comes is the life story of Daerokos Galvan. He's a troubled young idealist from the planet Hera. He devotes his life to saving his people from annihilation by dragons.
Okay.
So it's very character driven. It's epic fantasy. This is a very long story, but broken up into respectable chunks, digestible sizes. It's just pure badass dragon slaying action through and through.
So when you say fantasy, like we're not talking like Game of Thrones kind of fantasy, but this is more like you say it takes place on another planet, correct?
Correct. So what I've tried to do here is create a world that I want the reader to believe this world could exist.
Okay.
So I want it to have as much realism as possible. So it is fantasy at its core. Mm-hmm. Because anything that isn't true that we can't see with our own eyes is fantasy, right?
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah. So, but I want somebody to be able to read this and be like, wow, this could happen. We're discovering exoplanets at alarming rates. You know what I mean? So it's within the realm of possibility. And that's what I want to convey with this story. So yeah, at its heart, at its core, it's definitely fantasy.
For sure. Now, the dragons that you talk about, are they like dragons, like the big lizard wings, fire breathing, or are they more or less like humanoid in a sense?
No humanoid. I'm trying to bring dragons, not that they've strayed too far, but back to their core. Yeah. I want them to be big, terrifying dinosaurs that breathe fire and they don't care what you think. Okay. They're not going to soul bond with you. They're not going to try and connect with you so you can ride them. Yeah, these are giant monsters that are terrifying and you need to be afraid of them. And now they're taking things into their own hands, and who's going to do something about it?
So these dragons will seem more or less like they are aware, more or less. Like they want something, they're going to try and take it. They're operating more as a unit as opposed to like individual dragons flying around just burning people up, yeah?
Correct, yeah. So you're not going to have, Parthenax, the Doombringer, you're not going to have like these. I mean, there are legends in the world, in the lore, in the story, but there's not like, and there is a hierarchy. You've got the alpha dragon of Hera, Black Maw. He's obviously it's all pack mentality, just like wolves, right? You've got the alpha male leader of the pack. So Black Maw, as the people have called him, is the biggest, the baddest. He controls the other dragons through like a subliminal sort of like a primal animal dominance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they understand each other. They communicate just like regular reptiles do. It's not that fantastical, but yeah, no, I guess I would liken the dragons to those in Skyrim.
Okay.
Where you remember in Skyrim where you're playing and you're like, oh man, there's a dragon. I don't know if I should keep my distance. I'm level 1, So it's sort of like that, but you don't have Alduin and Parthenax like talking to you, and they don't have like a written language and stuff like that. So it's very cold. I want the dragons. I don't want people to feel like bad for the dragons yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So with the story unfolding, are we doing like kind of like the chicken and the egg. Like, who came first? You see these two factions. You got the people on the planet. You have the dragons. They're going at it. Who was there first? Were they at one point coexisting with each other, or did the dragons appear out of nowhere? Or did the humanoids like appear out of nowhere? What's the deal with that?
Right. So that brings it back to the core sense of realism that I want to convey with this book. So when you ponder, where did these dragons come from? Are they magical beings? Were they placed here? They evolved on this planet for millennia, just like all the other animals and plants and humanoids that are on this planet. They're just big animals.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been around for thousands of years. They've developed this deep, cold, calculating reptile brain that is just so good at just commanding and just survival in its basest, purest form. So these things, they've been around. Like I told someone else, you kind of liken them to lions, tigers, and bears. You don't go looking for them, right? You keep your distance.
Yep, exactly.
So, yeah, so herons they've known about them for millennia. You know that they exist. They're there. You see one once in a while. Maybe you hear about one burned down a village or killed somebody, but it's not a mass panic thing. Okay, dragons are there. You don't mess with them. They don't mess with you.
Do the dragons talk, or do they communicate with the universal language of English, or do they have language?
No, the dragons don't talk. I was very big on that. I never really entertained that idea because so many other mediums do it so well, like Smaug from The Hobbit and stuff like that. And Skyrim did it very well too. I mean, it fits with the lore. It's a world full of magic. This world, if I want you to believe that it's part of our world and it could be true, I can't have fireballs and lightning bolts and you know what I mean, and talking dragons. I love talking dragons. I think it's a great fantasy concept. I just didn't want it for this story. So
exactly. Okay.
The way they communicate is very, just like I said, just primal, animalistic. However reptiles communicate, subliminal, hypnosis or whatever they do, the alpha male mentality. So
yeah, you don't see a lot of original dragon stuff anymore. I think and don't judge me. I just started watching Game of Thrones, so I haven't gotten to the dragons yet. But when I first learned that dragons were in that show, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, last time I saw a dragon was Harry Potter, which was like damn near 10 years ago, in the Deathly Hallows or something like that. Or I don't know. When you see something like you're using a concept, especially with something that's mythical as like a dragon, you kind of take a step back and wonder, well, like, how can I do this to where it doesn't seem like a generic piece of just, I'm just going to use a dragon because dragons are cool. Like, yeah, we know dragons are cool, but how are you going to take something that's been done so many times and make it into something that people are going to want to read instead of saying, oh, look, there's a dragon. That's cool,
Yeah. I definitely felt that because I started writing this story about 2007. Mm-hmm. That's when it really just began as an idea, as a concept. And I was like, that'd be kind of a cool idea. Some guy just going around slaying dragons. And this was way before Game of Thrones. And then when Game of Thrones came out, I kind of got into it. I never read the books, got into the show. And then I kind of like petered out about halfway through the whole series.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing the dragons in there. And no, I won't spoil anything for you, but I didn't really like it that much. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what, this will definitely help me drive making sure that my dragons are loved. I want them, or feared, I want them to be like, I want somebody to look at how the dragons are crafted in this story and say, that's badass. I want that. Like Reign of Fire. Have you ever seen that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that movie is so cool. Like, just dragons, like, that movie is a huge inspiration for this book and how I portray dragon and heron and human interaction in this book. It's just, I gotta have it.
I started watching this one show on Netflix called The Dragon Prince. It's like an animated series. Prince. It was actually pretty good. I mean, the dragons, we haven't even gotten into like what the dragons are, but we know that they're there, I think season 2 introduced like one dragon that started attacking people, and we're like, well, why are they attacking people? So it kind of comes around to like, what are they going to do differently with this idea? They have the Dragon Prince, who's like an actual dragon, right? And then you have the Dragon King, who was killed, but then you're thinking like, well, what did they do? Is he really dead? Those kinds of things. How do, I guess, what I'm trying to get is like, how are they going to play the dragons into this kind of narrative of what they've done so far with that story? And that's kind of like, I guess that's the biggest reason why this show has caught on, is because the dragons, we know they're there, but how do they play a bigger role in the overarching plot, you know? And that's kind of the things you got to think about when you're coming up with a concept, with any kind of concept. It doesn't have to be a mythical creature. It could be tech, sci-fi. When you come up with that kind of concept, it's like we're just taking what's already there, kind of reworking it to our own kind of imagination and seeing if it works or if it don't work. And I think that's the hardest part when coming in as a creator or a writer, is, you know, taking a concept and trying to mold it into something new that's entirely separate from what you took it from, you know?
Yeah, definitely 100% agree, because I was thinking that I would have these dragons sort of mysterious and elusive and like not featured too heavily in the book. And then I was thinking, well, then what's the book about? I mean, this guy is, his life mission, he devotes his life to eradicating these dragons from his planet. I jump right into it. I mean, I don't splash page 1 with a dragon, but you know, you get in there and you start to see the story unfold. You get Hera's history like at page 6, I think, in my book. And so you get to see like what the dragons have been doing, how they've been affecting people. You get to jump right into the story. You're in the thick of it, like as soon as you start reading chapter 1. So
cool.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
All right, I'm gonna get your sample up on here really quick. Give me a second. Have it open on my second screen. So let me know when you can see it right now.
There it is.
Great. So it's Wisdom Comes. That's the name of your book, and I'm assuming this is the main character right here. What's he holding?
This is just like a concept piece that's part of like a dream sequence later from the book, but I really liked it for an interior cover. So it's just a sphere, but it's sort of supposed to represent his planet and his ambition and desire to save it, because it's covered in blood, basically.
Well, tell me more about this character here. He has this little fire on his forehead. It makes me think like maybe he has some type of sorcerer ability or something like that.
Yeah, no, I thought about that too. I was like, people might get the wrong idea from this image. That's why I kind of am moving it to being an interior cover, because I just like the concept of it.
Yeah.
But because it speaks to me, and I think once you read more of the story, you'll understand that this is a graphical representation of his internal struggle and his desires and his will and the trauma that he faces. So that's just sort of like what's on his mind.
Okay.
Represented as just a burning like passion. So yeah. So that's Daerokos there. That's him in his teen years.
Okay, cool. So I see all of your work. Is it going to stay in black and white, or are you going to have color, or how's that going to work?
I really want to get color. I've had some good feedback. People say they really like it in black and white. I like it in black and white too. Obviously, I'm biased. I love my artist's work. He does great line work.
Mm-hmm.
But if I wanted it in black and white, I would probably do grayscale.
Yeah.
It just looks so. You can see by page 2, you get kind of lost. But yeah, the colors, man. I'm waiting on colors now. It really sucks. The last 2 weeks, my artist had some personal life stuff come up, and then the colorist had his birthday last weekend, and I'm not blaming him or anything, but I had to wait an extra week to get some colors from him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I had all these cool things that I wanted to get done to show you, but it's fine. They should be coming Sunday. But yeah, the colorist is doing these 5 pages that you have here. He's coloring them now.
Okay.
And Steve Cannon from he does the color for Jack Irons, Steel Cowboy.
Yeah, I had him on my show about a month or 2 ago. Cool guy.
Yeah, dude, the guy is badass. He just totally gets it. Like, he sent me a preview last night of I think page 3 that he's colored, and it looks amazing.
That's great. Yeah,
I really want him.
I'm seeing here you got your own little language going on here. Is that the translation of what's going on here, or
yeah?
How did you come up with that? That's interesting.
That says "at the brink of the abyss" in Ikranik. Ikranik is the main language that Daerokos and his people use.
Okay.
So I've done quite an extensive bit of world building on this story. As you could imagine, it's been around for over 10 years now. And conlangs, constructed languages, have always been a hobby of mine. I just love learning new languages and creating new languages. It's just a fun thing for me. It's a pastime, a hobby. So I've been working on that one for a while, and it looks like gibberish, but it reads. It's made a font and gave it life.
Did you take any inspiration from existing languages to come up with that?
Yeah, just a few out there. The main inspiration was probably Daedric from the Elder Scrolls lore.
Okay.
You could probably see a couple influences in there.
Yeah, I kind of see it.
Yeah, I really liked the way that they had those big curves in some of the characters. But yeah, Daedric was pretty cool. What we tried to do there in the first panel was have it, because if you can tell by the narration boxes there, the edges are sort of like old paper. What the narration style of the story is the pages of his journal. So Daerokos always keeps his journal with him and records and logs his experiences and thoughts and feelings and whatnot. So what I wanted to do with the very first page was sort of that scene from 13th Warrior where Antonio Banderas is sitting around the fire with all the Norse Vikings, and he's like a Turkish Moor or something. And he's like just sitting there studying all these Vikings, or I think they were Englishmen, just talking and chatting around the fire, and he starts picking up their language. So that's what I wanted to kind of convey there with the opening caption boxes, that you're reading it in his language, but then it slowly starts to change into English.
Got you. I like it. I like it a lot. You've been working on this for 10 years, so you've done a lot of mostly world building, as you said, but I can tell you've been developing your main character quite extensively for him to narrate the story through a journal passage or through his journal. Right?
Yeah. I had played around with the narrative voice quite a few times with this, because there are some major shifts in this story down the line, and so I wanted to make sure that it was consistent. And so actually it was relatively recently, I think it was only last year, when I decided on the journal first person voice, and I was like, oh, it kind of makes sense. The story is about him, so why not? It's just you get to see his thoughts and feelings while something else is happening on the page, or you get to see how his memory is failing him because he says this happened, but then you see it actually happening. So yeah,
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like it. So we're going into chapter 1. I like the cave, dude. I cannot draw a cave to save my life. I'm going to use this as a reference, if you don't mind, because I've been trying to draw caves for the longest time, and I just can't get how the rock texture and all the I don't know what you call the stuff that hangs from the top.
Yeah, the stalactites and stalagmites.
Yeah. I mean,
this is great work, man. Like, I didn't even give him any notes on this page. He just threw it together, and I was like,
that's when you know you got a good artist where you can just be like, hey, man, this takes place in a cave. And they're like, dude, hold my beer. I got this.
Yeah. Really, you could see it in the flats, but I can't wait till I see the colors for this, because Steve has great ideas for those giant cave crystals. But I was very pleased, because I didn't want it to be like a tiny little like hole in the wall cave. I wanted it to be big, massive caverns for later reasons. And he nailed it, and I was just like, yeah, dude.
It's great. The line work here is just fantastic. So you got your main character right here. He's trekking in the desert. Now, do you have any alien terrain? Like, the sky is not going to be blue, probably be like some kind of burning red, orange kind of
in
deal.
Hera? Hera is I don't know if you've heard of the theory of panspermia.
No.
Okay, panspermia is a scientific theory that states that, like, life on Earth and other planets could be seeded by like a comet or an asteroid or something crashing in and dispersing that life.
Oh, yeah. That's how they came up with that idea of how like octopuses are apparently like extraterrestrial in a sense, and that probably came from somewhere else that probably impacted when a meteor hit our atmosphere or something like that. Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that. So that I'm sort of playing on that, where Hera is sort of like Earth's long lost sister, but she's like far away, right? So they were separated at birth, essentially. So they both got the same or similar building blocks for life, but they took it in two different directions. Not entirely opposite directions. Obviously, this guy is from Hera and he looks like a human. But yeah, there are some major notable differences. I mean, if you crash landed on Hera, you'd be mistaken for not immediately thinking you were on an alien planet. I mean, you look around, there's trees and rocks and a bluish sky, right? Yeah, once you see a dragon, though, I'm pretty sure you'll.
Well, there's speculation that we had dragons here at one point. I don't know if that's
exactly.
true.
That's what my book also deals with. That my book also, you'll see that my book sort of gives a speculative history or speculative historical fiction view of our dragon myths and legends here on Earth. So,
okay,
yeah,
cool. So, how many chapters are there going to be? It's going to be. This is chapter 1. How long is the story that you've written so far?
Total story is probably over 300 pages.
Okay.
So I'm planning on just slicing it up into the most important blocks, sort of like a like a novel series or whatever, how they do it. But yeah, so this is chapter 1. So you'll just get the intro to the story. You'll get the Hera's history. You'll get some dragon action, and you'll find out why our main character is on his quest.
This is something that looks really cool to read. Wow. Okay, so you got cities here. I mean, they look a little bit more like Earth cities here.
Right.
Explain some of that. Now, you say that Hera is more of a sister doppelganger to Earth in itself. Do they have this, besides the dragons, obviously, do they have the same, I guess, society, lifestyle, architecture as Earth, or is it more of a kind of like a fantasy, more medieval kind of thing?
Right. So Hera is currently in the medieval level of technology, roughly.
Okay.
More so like where Earth was in that time period. So they've got spears, swords, steel, armor. They're still into blacksmithing, but they are a little advanced in other things at their time that we weren't in our time, in medieval times. So they're really into astronomy. I mean, they pretty much figured out how their solar system works, stuff that we didn't really know back then. I mean, they're not splitting the atom, obviously, but but yeah, they've got a really good harmony with their planet. They're doing good stuff. They're just trying to live their life. There's various races and things like that. So you've got people who live in the cold, people who live in the desert, people who live in the jungle. But yeah, this page here, spoiler alert, that's Earth. And
Word.
Yeah, so you'll find that out why he is actually there.
Oh wow! Because I see like the military camp right here. I was like,
yeah,
this doesn't look like a camp for like knights or anything like that. This looks like straight up military. You got the lookout tower right here. You got one
watchtowers.
over here. Yeah, I'm like, this looks more materialistic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say. Tank over here. So I was like, kind of like, are they on the same level as us in terms of society-wise? Because I'm
like, if they have tanks, why is this guy running around with a sword?
Yeah, right. Like, he's not about to go in there and cause hell. This dude has a sword. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight. You don't do that.
Yeah. So you got the whole stranger in a strange land thing. So I really like the setup because you really think like, okay, he's touching some weird thing, and then he's crawling through caves in a desert, and cool, this is a fantasy, wasteland. And then boom, you're hit with this page, and you're like, what?
Yeah. What has happened to Earth at this point? Can you tell, or is that a big spoiler?
It's kind of a big spoiler.
Okay, well, you don't have to say it if it's a big spoiler. I don't want to spoil a good time, right?
That's just me because I personally hate spoilers. If it's like a project that I'm interested in, I will shun it from my life. Like if a trailer for a new cool movie comes out, I'll watch like 5 seconds and say, nope, turn it off. I want the full experience. I hate like reading like into things and stuff like that. Like
people theorizing like what could happen and all that stuff.
Yeah, Hero, Muttman and Macho Dan, they put out a 16-page preview of Hero, their first book, Hero, a while ago, and I think I got halfway through and I was like, nope, close this off. I'm just gonna wait till it comes because it's too cool.
I had those guys on my show again, like maybe about a month ago, and
yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
They sent me a sample, and I was like, this is so cool. I couldn't stop reading it because it was like one of those things that's like super compelling. Like this right here is like super compelling. So if it's compelling to me, it's kind of like a drug. Like once you take a hit, you're like, okay, I see what you did there, Mud Man.
Can't
I
stop.
got you.
Yeah.
Take my money and
See,
make this happen.
exactly. See, I'm kind of like that too. That's why I had very good self-control there on that one. I was like, okay, close this off. I'm done. But I think Von Klaus, Monster MD, just sent out like chapter 1 or something.
Yeah, I read that too, and
I'm like,
that's another one who's just
delete
man.
all the emails. I'm not reading it.
Ron Klaus did a great job with that whole concept too. Yeah, I love. He was on the show. Everybody that you've mentioned so far has been on my show. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Ron Klaus.
Have you read chapter 1 yet?
Yeah, and I'm just like, dude, you got to hurry up with this, with the rest of it, because I'm like ready to get this. I'm ready for it. Like, it would be perfect if I'm like, you should release it during Halloween, because that's something I would read during like the Halloween season. And but then the other part of me is like, no, I kind of want it now. Like,
yeah, yeah, I know. I told him on Twitter I was gonna curl up in bed with some popcorn and just read it like I would watch a good movie, you know, because he posted, I think, like a big spread of like pages that he was like working on or compiling or something, and you could just see the progression from like the title page into like the first chapter or whatever. And I was looking at it, I was like, dude, it just like you couldn't even see any words. It just looks like a movie. You're just like, oh my god, that just I gotta shut this off, because otherwise I'm gonna spoil it for myself.
Yeah, and I think he's crushed about 40 grand. So
Did it.
Whatever he's doing, he's doing it right. So
Doing it well.
He's doing it real well. So, oh man, so this is really great line work. Honestly, in my opinion, I would say if you can get it colored, color it. But I think it looks fine the way it is, honestly.
Yeah, I would be satisfied if I had to put it out like this. Steve's a great colorist, and I will do everything in my power to try and get his colors, because, dude, they are amazing.
Yeah, you do the drafts and all that, right?
The what?
You do the drafting first, and then you have a line artist that does the inking. Yeah.
No, he does the roughs.
Okay.
I do layouts. So if it's like a scene where I really want like a cinematic feel, or I really want a particular panel to look this way, I'll definitely do layouts. But I usually defer to him for organizing panel structure and page layout, because he's got more experience with that than I do.
Yeah,
I'll definitely do thumbs and layouts and stuff like that. But I am actually also doing the flatting for this book.
Okay.
And the lettering. So
it looks good. I'm digging this little cluster of rocks right here. I'm just like studying it. Like, okay, where in my comic book where I'm going to need rocks? Am I going to need any rocks for this? I don't know.
So good with rocks, dude. Especially on that cover piece too. Like just a couple of rocks behind Daerokos there. It's like
it's actually really good real. Rocks. Like, I've been trying to draw rocks for like the longest time, and I can never get it right. They look like my rocks end up looking like a ball with a crack in it. That's just it. There's no depth to it, like this pebble right here, anything like that over here. Like, every time I try and draw a rock, it just turns out looking like a pebble with cracks or like it's dry. I just can't do it. I can draw everything else. My biggest one is rocks and hands. I can't fucking draw hands to save my life.
Dude, don't even get me started on the human figure. Anything that has to do with like a human face or anything, I can't even draw it. Like, I've been drawing and painting my whole life. Can't do it.
I've been using this little guy right here, one of these like posable figures.
Yeah.
I could draw the body perfect. When it comes to drawing the hands, like, I could draw a closed fist perfectly, but if the hand is open, dude, they oh god, like I just do
like trying to do this, like the perspective stuff. Like,
yeah. It's fucking difficult. I do my best, because I just work out on the layout and the flats and stuff. But my artist, my inker, he knows exactly what to do when it comes to the hand. So I kind of give him the idea of what I'm trying to do here. And he just takes it and, I got you. I'm going to do it. And then it's like, okay, cool. We're on the same page here. That's great.
That's cool. Good. Good.
All right. So we're going into our next segment. So you're in pre-launch right now. What are some advices? Well, before we get into the advice part, what are you doing right now to help prepare your campaign and stuff like that? How are you collecting emails, so on and so forth?
Posting out the pre-launch page on Twitter, and I have a MailChimp thing set up for that, and then I have on my Instagram, I'm promoting some posts with the link to sign up for that.
Okay.
Just nothing super expensive, just some cheap stuff that just sort of gets more exposure to the pre-launch page. And then Once I get these colors in, which are probably coming in tomorrow night, I plan on doing an informative video about the book, just something quick, minute and a half, just to tell people about it, and then probably gonna do some more posting on like Reddit and stuff like that, because my artist is big into Reddit, so he's got like when he posts things, he posts his art, he gets like upvoted into the sky. It's insane. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna start posting some stuff there, as much as I dislike that website.
Yeah, dude, I stopped using the Reddit. There was just too many people telling me what I could and could not post when it was relevant to the subreddit. So I was just like, I'm done with this. Deleted my account and everything and just left. Too much. So how long have you been in pre-launch, and how many people have you gotten to actually give you your email?
Let me see. I think I've been pre-launch for about a week and a half now.
Oh wow. You just started.
Yeah. So let me see. Let's see my campaigns. Oh no, I have to log in again.
MailChimp is actually pretty nifty thing to use for sure.
I like it. Yeah, it's very helpful. I think last time I checked I had 10. But I was using MailChimp before I did the pre-launch page. So just from the Indiegogo page, I've got 10 so far.
Oh, that's not bad at all. That's actually really good. How long are you planning on being in pre-launch? Are you waiting until you hit a certain number of emails, or is it for like time-based instead?
Mostly just the emails. I need to get more of those until I feel comfortable. I've got a lot of like Twitter people that have signed up for it, so I feel I'm very thankful for their signups. But yeah, I definitely want to start branching out once I get the colored stuff in, so I can use that for promo material. I just didn't want to do promo stuff in black and white. As much as people like it, it's just I wanted more zing to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, more color, because it doesn't matter like if you read manga or not, but whenever they release like a colored page, you're like, ooh, a colored page. I can't wait to see what this looks like. So color actually attracts a lot more people versus black and white. Black and white is cool. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. It's cool if you know how to run with that and do it the right way.
Definitely.
But color will always like top black and white in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you have the manga style inherently, then black and white is the way to go. Like with Kaya's.
Yep.
Ryan Cardinals, dude, doesn't even need colors, dude. Like that book looks insane. It screams DBZ manga from the library when I was a kid. You know, just go rent the new DBZ.
He actually recommended using Clip Studio Paint. I was using Photoshop in the beginning. I still use Photoshop for my colors. Don't get me wrong, but I was doing my layouts and drafting by hand on paper, and then I ran out of paper. So I had to go back because I forgot the name of it, and looked at my interview, and he said, Clip Studio Paint. So I downloaded it. I just bought it, and it works really well when it comes to drafting and getting concepts and ideas across. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm not big on, like, I'm getting better at digital drawing, but when you start using it, it's a little bit tricky because, it's another program I got to learn. Where's the YouTube videos? I don't have time for this, right? But, it's very simple, very unique. If you know how to work like any type of drawing program like Photoshop or GIMP, it's basically the same thing. Make a layer and draw on it.
Definitely. Yeah, I use Clip Studio, and I've been using it for like a couple years now. Never really got too into it, but now I'm learning so much more about it because I'm having to do flats and lettering for this book. So yeah, I definitely appreciate that program. It was well worth the purchase.
Yeah, I'm thinking like I'm going to do my lettering with Clip Studio instead of Photoshop, because they have everything you need from if you want to do illustration, if you want to do basic just drawing, comic panels, and then of course they have animation, which I completely love because I did all my animation by hand, and I was like, God damn, I have all these freaking cells here. I have no idea where to store them. I don't want to throw them away because it took me like a month to draw all these cells, but you can store everything on that, and it's to me it's easy. So I can't. When I'm done with this project, I'm going straight back into animation and doing like some kind of shorts and stuff. I can't wait to figure out how to use that.
I saw some of your was it animatics or your hand-drawn stuff?
Yeah, I do. I did a pencil test like last year
pencil
sometime.
test. There you go. Yeah, that was really cool.
Thank you. I'm trying to work on it. I wanted to color it, but I couldn't figure out how to do it, so I just left it as a pencil test and just said, I'll work on this later. So I might go back and finish that up, and might have to redraw all the cells digitally and color it that way. But
yeah, man, just go digital.
Yeah, everything's digital. No storage space, no nothing. Just all digital. So yeah, man.
No paper getting lost.
Well, thank you, Cody, for coming on the show. Unfortunately, that's all the time I got for today. I got to go grab some lunch, and I got to get back to work on my own comic. So yeah, man.
Oh yeah, dude. Work on it.
Yeah.
Eat it.
Been off for like 4 days, and that's all I've been doing is literally went to a barbecue, and I've been in my office all right now, just drawing, watching Netflix, getting caught up on Stranger Things while I draw and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's cool, man. But I'm totally down for your campaign. You know what? If you can, DM me your link where you're collecting emails. I'll gladly sign up so I can be notified when that comes out. And I'll make a shout out to you too. So hopefully we can get some more emails going your way, because I really want to get into this. It seems like a really good concept. Fantasy. My wife is into dragons, so I know she'll be down to read this for sure.
Yeah, she'll like it.
For sure, man.
Dragon Slayer fantasy action.
It doesn't matter. Anything that's a dragon, it doesn't matter what it is. She just drops dead for dragons. I don't know what it is.
People love dragons.
Everyone loves dragons. You cannot like a dragon, dude.
Right?
We don't like real dragons. We like the dragons that we like to read about. Real dragons.
Exactly.
I don't know. All right, Cody. Well, thank you for coming on to the show, my man. It was fun.
Thanks for having me, Will.
No problem.
Awesome, dude.
Keep us posted on Wisdom Comes, and I can't wait to read more of what you got.
You got it. You'll be first to know.
For sure, man. You take care.
All right, bud.
All right. Have a good one. And that's all the time we have for today, guys. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get my subscriber numbers up there. I'm at about 130 so far. So if I can get it to 150 by the end of the week, that would be fantastic. So please like and subscribe to my channel. Share the channel. If you're an indie comic book creator and you want to come on the show, you can find me on Twitter at heroic_studios. I'm always available to bring new people onto the show. I'm currently scheduling for August. All right. Now, if you like Cody Martinez's concept of Wisdom Comes, his Indiegogo and his campaigns are not live yet, but what he is doing, he's in pre-launch and he's collecting emails. I have already submitted my email. You should submit your email too if you are interested in learning more about his Indiegogo campaign and letting him know that you're interested in what he has to do. And did I mention that there are dragons in there? I think I did that. I think I did that a few times. Anyways, guys, I will see you next week with a new and improved episode of Indie Choice Picks with a lot of creators. I am booked for July, and like I said, I'm scheduling for August. So if you want in, guys, get at me on Twitter. I will see you guys next time with another episode and another awesome creator on Indie Choice Picks. Have a good night.